Hey guys, what's up? Ruben here from the Midnight Garage. So today I'm going to show you guys how to install an aftermarket high-performance fuel rail on a Honda Civic. And here we have it. Brand new, looks pretty good to me. So right off the bat I'm going to answer the question that most, basic tuners probably want to know. How much horsepower are you going to get with another high-performance fuel rail? Well, zero. Absolutely zero horsepower. Well, if we're talking about Hondas, the stock fuel rail you currently have on your car from Honda itself is actually a pretty damn good fuel rail and doesn't really need to be replaced. Unless, of course, you're going to drive with the turbo and you're going to drive high boost and you're really going to have like a couple of hundred horsepower more than stock. But even then, in most cases, the stock fuel rail is sufficient. But obviously, it doesn't look as shiny and as flashy as this one. So for the looks department, if you want another fuel rail, you can definitely take one. And unless you're going for like a high performance turbo build, you don't really need one. So you don't really get horsepower gains with an aftermarket fuel rail, but does it have any advantages over the stock one? Well, yes it does. If you look clearly here, you can see that this one can screw out and you can see there's place for an AN fitting. And if we look on the other side, there's another plug here and here's another place for an AN fitting. So if you're planning to replace your whole fuel system with AN lines and AN fittings, then obviously you're going to need an aftermarket fuel rail because these ones will support it. Also, if you do, there's a place where you can block off the original location for the fuel pressure regulator. So for the setup that we are going to use today, I'm going to keep the original fuel lines and I am going to keep the original fuel pressure regulator. So that means that I don't have to block this one off. I do have to block this line off and I'm going to use this fitting for this side here. So I don't have to block that off and I can use the original fuel line. I got some rubbers with the kit that I can use to block off the lines and prevent fuel from leaking. If you're going to use Teflon tape instead, that's possible, but make sure you get Teflon tape that's fuel resistant because fuel in general destroys the Teflon tape and you will get a leak later on. And one thing you definitely don't want with your fuel system is a leak. So the original fuel line has a banjo bolt right here, and if you're going to remove and reinstall a banjo bolt, you always need to put some new copper washers in between there and don't reuse the old ones because then you might get a leak, and once again you don't want to get a leak. Here we have the original fuel line that we're going to replace. I have loosened the strut bar and I've used it to put a light on it, so at least we have some light and see what we're doing. But it's very recommended that if you have one that you remove that one first because that makes it a whole lot easier. Now obviously you need to remove the feed first and the fuel pressure regulator. You can keep it in the engine bay, but I'm going to paint it because I think it looks rather sad if you have a fresh and brand new fuel rail with a very old pressure regulator on it. The bolts are behind it, like here if you can look closely. And that's basically the only thing that holds the fuel rail in place. And here we have the original fuel pressure regulator. I'm going to paint it so it looks slightly better, but you don't really need to do that. The only thing you do need to do is check if the rubber seal is still in good shape, and if not, replace it. Also, something to keep in mind is that when you remove the fuel lines, you're probably going to get fuel everywhere, so be sure to have like something like a cloth to clean everything up if it happens. Everything removed, time to remove the fuel rail itself. That should do it. One fuel rail. Now I'm very lucky today, all the injectors are still in place. I've had it a couple of times that some of the injectors came loose, but now it's only a case of checking whether these rubbers here are still in good shape. I will zoom in on them so you can look at them closely. These ones, and I just need to be sure that these are in good shape for all four sides, and if they are, I can put the fuel rail back on. Well, they're fortunately still in good shape, so that means that it's time to put the new fuel rail on. So if you put the new fuel rail on, be sure to check each injector and see if it goes in the hole properly, and don't force anything, because if you force anything you might break the rubber seals, and well, that means you have to redo everything, so you don't want that. Just be cautious and take your time. Also, if you're planning to upgrade your injectors anyways, then now's a really good time to do so. Well, everything seems fine, so now it's time for me to bolt everything in place. The fuel line is bolted in place. If you don't like the injector wiring, you can also route them underneath the fuel line, but I'm going to leave that for another video. Also, another thing you can do is, well, rotate all the injectors 180 degrees so that all the plugs are underneath here. They're slightly harder to get by, but it looks even cleaner. So once again, don't forget the new washers if you're going to put the banjo bolt back on. I am now putting the pressure regulator back, and to be honest, it does look kind of sad in comparison to the, well, the brand new fuel rail. But don't worry, we're going to replace that real soon as well. Since it's mostly for show, it's gonna need this one little thing to finish it off. Yes, perfect. Right, now there's only one thing left to do, and that's to pressure test it. So put the car in ignition 2 and see if there are any leaks. And if there aren't any leaks, just start the car, check again for any leaks. And if there are, again, no leaks, then, well, basically you're good to go. So yeah, guys, that's it for today. I hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more how-to videos. And hopefully we'll see you guys next video. Bye.